Good morning and welcome to the video for Thursday, May the 7th for third grade. This is going to begin our new chapter working with geometry. So the first thing that we are going to talk about today are plane shapes. So plane shapes are shapes that can be formed on a flat surface. So this is an example of a picture of a house, which would include lots of different types of shapes. And so for those shapes, we have some different things that we need to talk about. So we have points, which would be an exact position or location, and that could be as part of a line or a line segment. So a line is going to be a straight path that continues in both directions and doesn't end. The difference between that and a line segment is a line segment has a starting and ending point. And so we could use the term endpoints to describe those. And then if we were to look at this picture, we could say that we have a line segment that goes along the bottom here, and here would be one endpoint, and here would be another. We could do something similar for most of the figures that make up this particular shape. So the other thing that we have is a ray, and so that will start from one endpoint and continue in one direction indefinitely. So let's take a look at the bottom of the page. So here we have a square, and so we are making this particular shape, and we have four sides. We have four endpoints. So usually when we are talking about the endpoints, we might use the term vertex or vertices if we're using the plural form of that. And so as we do more work with this, you will see that term to describe how we would, what we would call the endpoints that make up one of these shapes that we're going to be studying. So a square is going to have four line segments, and the line segments only meet at their endpoints. And I'm just going to abbreviate that EP. And let's go on to our next page. So a closed shape is always going to start and end at the same point. Now, if you are like me, I typically draw a circle going like this, or sometimes going like this, but I usually start at the top. That doesn't mean that the top has to always be the starting and end point. I could also start here, I could start anywhere. So just because we can't see a spot that might be a logical place to start, like I'm usually going to draw the letter B like this because that's the way that I was taught to do it. Now, you could just go all the way around and do it that way. But what I usually relate to with closed shapes is there is no open space inside the shape. There is a line connecting or arc or something else connecting every single portion of the piece together. There are no gaps. An open shape does not start and end at the same point, and it does have gaps. So like this would be a rectangle if I had a fourth line segment to finish that shape, but I don't. So this entire area of space is open. I haven't closed the shape. So I hope that's helpful for you. That's the way I normally explain that type of thing in a way that you might be able to relate a little bit more easily to. So let's look at our share and show questions. Number one, how many line segments does the shape have? Well, we have a triangle, so that means we have three sides to the shape, and all three of those sides are going to be line segments. So for, I'm going to do most of these. So number two, circle the words that describe the shape. Well, if we describe the entire thing, we would use the word ray. We do have a point here, so I would argue that you could probably also put that one. But that doesn't describe the whole shape, that just describes this one part. So this is probably our better answer. Number three, we are going to have a closed shape. Number four, we are going to have an open shape. Number five, and this is the one I accidentally said the wrong thing in a video for a different grade yesterday. I started by saying a line and then I caught myself and said line segment. So this is a line, but because we have a starting and ending point, The correct term for what we're working with for geometry purposes would be a line segment. Number 6, our shape would be open. Number 7, our shape is kind of rounded, but it is connected all the way around the shape. So that would be a closed shape. Number 8 would also be a closed shape. And number 9, we have a little bit of a gap here. So if we were kind of relating back to what looks like it could be a Tetris block, it looks like one of those Tetris blocks, although this part's a little bit higher. But this end here is open. There is not a line segment that would connect that. So we have an open shape. And now, when we are working with shapes, we are going to have specific terms for the different polygons that we have based on the number of line segments or sides that that particular shape has. So we won't cover that in this lesson, but it is a good idea to understand how many we have. So 4, so this would be technically a type of quadrilateral. And then a number 11, I'm going to count around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this would count as being an octagon, even though it is not the normal shape that we are used to seeing for an octagon. Octagon meaning that it has 8 sides. So this one again has 4 line segments, and then this one should have 6. So this would be an example of a hexagon. Number 14. So we have a shape that is connected all the way around. So that would be a closed shape. Now, we only have 1 line segment here. This arc technically will not count as being a line segment for the purposes of what we're talking about, but we'll talk about that kind of thing in a later lesson, if I remember correctly. So this shape here, we have an opening. We could either connect it by making a line segment that goes this way, or even potentially going around and closing the shape this way, and then this would just be an extra part inside. So we have an open shape here, closed shape here, and a closed shape here. This would be a triangle. And in 4th grade, we'll talk about exactly what kind of triangle that would be. So let's take a look at our homework real quick. I wanted to give you a couple suggestions. So again, for number 2, all you're having to do is count the number of sides that the shape has, each of those sides being made up of a line segment, open or closed. So Risen Christ students, you're doing odds, so you would be doing number 3, number 5. On the Google form, I'm just going to tell you how you would close the shape, so you don't have to worry about drawing a picture. Number 7, go ahead and do that. That will not be in the Google form. For number 5 on the back, so what I would suggest, since it's probably been a while, if you are watching this and have to do this question, I would suggest taking 4 of these and filling them in, and then saying what the equivalent fraction would be, how much of that whole shape would be filled in at that point. So those are the problems for the homework. Again, Risen Christ students, you're doing, excuse me, I think I said odds before. You're doing evens on the front and 1 and 2 on the back, but I will cover all of the homework problems for the homework video to help everyone else that might be finding our videos. So that is the lesson for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in Google Classroom or reach out to your classroom teacher for help. I hope that explanation of how I distinguish between open and closed shapes, as far as if everything is connected together, helps for you. I know that's not technically the book definition, but that's something that, at least for me, has been helpful for explaining it for students in the past. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or your classroom teacher. Hope you have a wonderful day. We will have a new lesson as well as the homework for this particular lesson coming out on Friday morning. So have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.